It's this
Oh,
weekend.
yeah.
Oh, is it this weekend? Wow. Boy, I'm just screwing this stuff up all over the place, aren't I, guys? Barbara, the whole
Yeah.
idea of the moss creatures have kind of morphed over the last, well, almost 2 decades. Nobody does moss the way you do moss. These are exceptional. These are her King, Barbara King, standing cranes, and you have these in a combination of metalwork and sculpture, along with a artificial moss finish that is probably the most lifelike that I had ever seen done.
Oh, thank you. You know, real moss is actually very hard to grow, and it is certainly really hard to make into a shape. We've done it a lot, and it sometimes just comes out like a blob. Well, we were able to do this with our resin bodies that are underneath. This moss looks real, but you're going to want to touch this moss because it feels wonderful to touch. When the sunlight hits it, it has different tones of green that it picks up. These have a lot of character and they add a lot of character to your outdoor spaces. And combining the elements of the metal and the moss was great. And one is feeding. So this one is the one we call feeding. He's looking down. And then the other is standing, looking up at the sky. They're a great combination to have together. They're going to rise above most of your plants in the garden. If you have annuals in the garden,
Yep.
this is a piece that you could add right into there, or even on your patio or deck. The texture of it is so pretty.
It looks like topiary. Again, I agree
Yeah,
with you. Moss is hard to grow where you want it to grow.
that's true.
It grows really well in places you don't want it. But to be able to
So true.
do something like this is the bird again that is listed as feeding. The other one is called standing. But take a look all the way down and look at the metal feathers, and then even something as simple as having used this Twizzler-like design for the legs. And then you do
Yeah.
get a stake, a rounded stake, that will hold these into the ground so that they won't blow over or tip. And they're 32 inches in height, so they again become this wonderful little surprise. Now, what we did back on our little sun deck was we just set them there, and it was more than
Look
enough
how
to
that
make them gorgeous.
Yeah, and that texture accentuates everything else. It doesn't fight with it or compete with it. The texture of the moss, the faux moss, and the metal is something that is so subtle, yet it brings your eye right to it. It's really, really a nice piece to add into your garden, but I have had people use them maybe in a bathroom. It gives vertical height to a place that you need something that's going to be slender and tall, but it's not too wide, so it's not going to take up too much space. And the detail in the bronze, the metal, the legs is just whimsical, yet again, elegant.
Again, when you go to a theme park, it's the little visual surprises that make it so exciting. And it's what makes us feel
That's
like little
right.
kids when we're not little kids anymore. And there is no reason why our living space shouldn't have that. So that as you're sitting and you look out, you see something that you know you had a hand in helping to design. And knowing that you've got your home space as different than everybody else's. Barbara, I don't know if you feel this way, but I can absolutely say in my life, my back deck, which is not big, has become a focal point for refuge for me. To be able to just kind of sit out there, maybe a cup
Oh
of
gosh,
coffee
yeah.
early in the morning, maybe a different beverage
Yeah.
later at night.
Yeah.
That space is
Yeah,
more
it
important than
is.
ever before.
It is our special space, and
Yeah.
I'm spending more time out there, and I'm looking at the nooks and crannies and thinking, I could use something in that corner, and especially those slender areas where you need to get a little bit of height. So I definitely have a lot of customers that are doing the same thing, looking around their backyard spaces, their front yard spaces, and their home, and thinking about what special, unique pieces they could do. And these are super unique, something you're not going to find everywhere. And it has such an elegance to it, that shape of the neck. It's
Yep.
just pretty.
And they're friends. I recommend that you get both of them because they play well together.
Oh.
Yes. Barbara, we are going to take a real quick break, but we're going to come back and we'll bring you back again with social distancing. Barbara